JavaScript based. You can define a function using C# as well. So I have defined a function using JavaScript. And then I'll show you the function, how it has been written. Let me just figure it out how many functions it has. It has only one, never mind. So you get a function like this, right? Let me just increase the font size so that you can clearly see it. So that's the same function I showed you before. So it takes an array, makes it a string, right? That's a simple thing. I wanted to show you that when you need to transform anything, think of that way. You can leverage function, a small amount of code, and do things. You can also interact with external sources. You can pass these things from here to a document DB. It's quite possible to do that. So we have just done that similar step here. And then after this is done, I take the data and pass it on to SQL Server. So you can see that it is now getting into SQL Server. I can also take a call based on the sentiment I have received. So I can put a condition, which is add a condition. And this condition says that if my score score is less than, bear with me, is less than something, I'll just save it, then it should go off. I've seen this comes with a designer. There is a bug, I believe. Yep, so the condition comes up, let me just open up again, is less than 0.03, then add some action, then send a notification to the owner of this activity, right? Else you just save it or do nothing. So that's the kind of if-else condition you can do. You can also run through a loop. So if you're getting a lot of things like key phrases, which is basically an array, you can run through a loop. So you can also do a loop. So you can see over here in this process, what it allows you to do is that it allows you to enhance really this simple workflow into anything you can think of. Have you ever used BizTalk, design a BizTalk solution? So you know how complex it can go. So Logic App is a cloud version of what BizTalk offers today, right? So I can take this action and I say add a for each. So if you get a lot of record, right, you can do a for each loop. Now, this is what it gives you at the end of the day is a designer. There is no code. Now, if somebody asks, where is my code? The code is all in JSON in form of ARM. So if you go into this Twitter analysis, which I have created, it gives you an automation script. This is the code. So you can take a backup of this code. In fact, in Visual Studio 2017, which we have released recently, you have got an ability to add a designer for Logic App, and you can design from Visual Studio and deploy it from there. You don't have to do it here. So it gives you the complete thing. So this is completely a JSON-based code. You can take a backup of the code, put it in source control, do anything of that sort. So we also give you power to define this using PowerShell. So if you're more of a scripting guy, DevOps guy, you can do it PowerShell. You can do it in a native .NET way as well, right? You can write a simple .NET code, bringing in quite a few libraries, and then you can write this code. So what you additionally need to do is all your subscription ID, key, which you definitely need to mask it because you should not put all of them into the code, but for demo purpose I can put it, and then I can start executing this code, and it will give me the same result. In fact, it will deploy the same Logic App to Azure and then start deploying from there, not from my machine. Logic App is a cloud-only solution. You also have an option to run it on Ruby. So you do provide the Ruby support as well, right? So this is one thing. Any questions? I think I'm almost at the end of. Yeah.
I mean, it's a very interesting thing. Like, I like the thing.
Yeah, thank you.
If at all you had to build up a report, like after, for example, you are in the B2, you are doing something for earthquake or fire.
Yeah.
And you wanted to build a report like which city or which place this is happening and whatever you can.
Oh, yeah. So we can do that. So there is a Power BI integration. Yeah, we can integrate to a Power BI, and Power BI gives you a dashboard capability. Being a business user, you don't need to be a business analyst, so to say, or a BI expert, business intelligence expert. I don't know business intelligence. I can still build a Power BI report. You can put our map, and then map will point to the location. So you can mark a red, all these things. So in fact, our Azure dashboard is built on top of Power BI. We leverage that capability. So in the connector, we have an ability to pass the data. I was passing the data to a database. You can pass it to a Power BI streaming data source, which means that constantly will come to the Power BI, and Power BI dashboard will keep on refreshing it. So you can have a large screen, and then Power BI refresh will happen as and when data comes in. You don't have to hit any refresh button. Quite possible. Yeah. So last thing. Yeah, any question coming? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So it's done. Yeah, one question I can take. Yeah. Two things. Web job uses the same worker process, WP, W3 process of your web apps. So if you're also running a UI, the web application, in the same web job, then remind it that if it is a too heavy web job, it is actually leveraging the power of the existing server. So your web application may get slower, but if it is only dedicated web job, it's fine. Web job, if it is too complicated, you have lots of lines of code written inside a web job method, then it's not identical for function, because function is a very small amount of execution, right? So let's say you are doing 300-line code execution, that's definitely not ideal for functions. So you have to split them into small pieces. Yeah. And then you have to also take care of the sequence of the execution if you're splitting it into multiple functions. If anything breaks, how you roll it back to the previous state. Yep, I am done.
Okay. Take the questions later, actually.
Yeah, we can take the question later.
A small token of appreciation for you.
Thank you so much.
Please do a big hand. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I was standing in between. Sorry about that. I'll also have tea. I am feeling sleepy.